Are you looking for the best gaming CPU? In this video we will look at some of the 6 best gaming CPU on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Intel Core i9-13900K. Most benchmarks are showing Intel's new Raptor Lake CPUs outperform AMD's new Zen 4 CPUs on a tier-for-tier basis. And, while AMD has dropped the prices on their Zen 4 CPUs to be more competitive with the corresponding tier of Intel CPUs, the price difference still isn't enough to justify choosing a Zen 4 CPU over a Raptor Lake CPU. That could change if AMD decides to drop prices again. However, another price-related problem for Zen 4 CPUs is the fact that X670 chipset motherboards tend to cost more, on average, than Intel's Z790 chipset motherboards. This further tilts the cost of entry in favor of Intel's Raptor Lake CPUs. So, for right now, from both a pure performance and price standpoint, the best extreme CPU for gamers is the Intel Core i9-13900K, or KF. Its 24 total cores, 8 P-cores and 16 E-cores, up to 32 threads will be overkill for the majority of gamers. But if you need a CPU for both gaming and productivity work, and your budget is no concern, the 13900K is the ideal option right now. Number 2. Intel Core i5-13600K. While the 13900K is clearly the most powerful CPU on the market, in terms of pure gaming performance, it won't offer much of an in-game performance gain over the much cheaper Intel Core i5-13600K, or KF. In fact, if gaming is your main concern, it would make sense to opt for the 13600K over the 13900K and put the difference in cost into your GPU, which will ultimately provide you with better in-game performance. Of course, if money is of no concern, then the 13900K is the route you'll want to go. Just note that it won't give you a significant, if any, boost in performance while gaming. Ultimately, with its 14 total cores and 20 total threads, the 13600K is the perfect option for gamers who have a decent budget, but who do not have an unlimited amount to spend, and are looking to build a high-end gaming PC. Number 3. AMD Ryzen 5 5600. Typically, there are a handful of great gaming processor options in the sub-$200 price range. Usually, the locked Intel Core i5 and the Ryzen 5 Non-X processors are the best options for value gamers. Over the life of this best CPU for gaming guide, we've flip-flopped between the locked Intel Core i5 and the Ryzen 5 Non-X options as being the best value options for gamers. However, right now, with all things considered, the Ryzen 5 5600 seems to be the best value for the moment. It's currently $20-$30 cheaper than the Intel Core i5-12400F. And, while the 12400F has cheaper motherboard options available, it cannot be overclocked and it comes with a weaker stock CPU cooler. Both options will perform similarly in gaming, so at current prices, we give the nod to the Ryzen 5 5600. You could also opt for the newer Intel Core i5-13400F or Ryzen 5 7600, but those also come with a much higher price tag. However, if you're looking in this price range for CPUs, you probably don't have an unlimited budget. And, if that's the case, you'd be better off opting for an older CPU, like the Ryzen 5 5600, which will still perform ideally in most in-game scenarios, and using the money saved to get a more powerful graphics card. Number 4. AMD Ryzen 9 7950X. The AMD Ryzen 9 7950X is a nice option for gamers who have a huge budget and have the need for a processor that can handle multi-threaded applications as well. The 7950X comes with a whopping 16 cores and 32 threads, a 4.5 GHz base clock, and a 5.7 GHz boost clock. Of course, The i7-1370OK and i9-1390OK are no slouches in multi-threaded applications as well. And, really, all three of these processors will serve well for gaming and CPU-heavy tasks. So, really, while there are small performance differences between these three options in gaming, if you have the budget, you can't go wrong with any of them. However, early benchmarks show that the i9-1390OK slightly edges the 7950X in both multi-threaded work and gaming performance. And, while the 1390OK and the 7950X cost roughly the same, you can get a Z790 motherboard for a lot cheaper than a new AM5X670 motherboard. Number 5. AMD Ryzen 5 7600X. The AMD alternative to the Intel Core i5-13600K is AMD's new Ryzen 5 7600X. However, just as with the 1390OK and the 7950X, we gave the nod to the 1360OK over the 7600X, due to its slightly better overall performance. The 7600X is still an excellent processor, however, and as we've mentioned in comparing other Intel and AMD CPU tiers, the main thing to consider here is current prices, since both the 1360OK and the 7600X have about the same cost of entry, with the CPU price and a compatible motherboard, and because the 1360OK has the edge in performance, it is the better buy. If the cost of entry for the 7600X were to drop significantly, it would definitely be worth considering over the 1360OK. In reality, both CPUs will provide an ideal in-game experience. So, you can definitely choose the 7600X at current prices over the 1360OK, and you probably wouldn't regret doing so. Number 6. Intel Core i5-12400F. Another solid CPU option if you're looking in the $150 to $200 price range is the Intel Core i5-12400F. The Intel Core i5-12400F's direct AMD competitor is the Ryzen 5 5600. And, while the i5-12400F is a locked CPU, it will provide a boost in performance over the Ryzen 5 5600. However, we like the Ryzen 5 5600 a bit more because of its ability to be overclocked. The 12400F is locked and, thus, cannot be overclocked, and it comes with a better CPU cooler. But if you don't plan on overclocking and you don't mind using the ugly Intel stock cooler for the time being, it's a solid option. Ultimately, both processors will perform similarly in terms of in-game performance,